You got to beat the best to be the best. I'm trying to see who be the best from the east to the west. We ball in, shot call in, trying to get that shot to drop up against that shot clock. You got to beat the best to be the best. We're trying to see who be the best from the east to the west. We ball in. Welcome back to Bo Knows Basketball because I do. Thanks for tuning in with this episode today. We're going to be talking about who are the top 10 contending teams in the East to make the playoffs. Which top 10 teams will make the playoffs in the East? All right, and we're going to jump right into that before we review picks from yesterday. I don't think I had a good streak of picks yesterday. That's neither here nor there. Let's dive into the teams. And simply over here at NBA.com, I'm just going to highlight here that this is the Eastern teams here. When we're talking about South, East, Central, and Atlantic, these teams are the 15 teams in the East. Only 10 will attempt to make the playoffs. Only 6 will guarantee a spot in the playoffs. 4 will have to face each other to see who plays better in the playoffs. And like I told y'all before, it's like a separate playoffs within a playoffs, a mini baby of the bottom teams playing to see who can play with the big dogs. With no further ado, we're looking at the teams right now, and we're figuring out who's going to be the top 10. And what I should do is actually write it down so that we don't lose track of who I'm picking. But nevertheless, I think we're solid. 5 teams are not going to make the playoffs. Let's look at this team here and see who we have, just going from left to right, and see who we think will make the playoffs and who will not. So we're looking at Boston Celtics, Brooklyn Nets, New York Knicks, 76ers, Toronto Raptors, which is a maybe. I didn't pick yet. No teams did I pick yet to make it. I'm just going through the teams. Chicago Bulls, Cavaliers, Detroit Pistons, you feel me? Indiana Pacers, which is a maybe. Milwaukee Bucks, Atlanta Hawks, Charlotte Hornets. A lot of bottom feeders. The Charlotte Hornets happen to be one of them. They're not making the playoffs. Miami Heat, Orlando Magic, and Washington Wizards. So the bottom, you got a few bottom feeders here. Let's just go over the bottom feeders here. We have, and this is not me even without looking at the record. I'm gonna make the top picks. What I will do is have my assistant grab me a pen or a pencil and some paper because I'm gonna pick the top 10 and then we're gonna go and look at the actual NBA standings of who's in right now and who's not as of their current record today. All right. Because if I click over to standings, which I've not done yet, if I click over to standings here, that'll give us an idea of who's actually based on the current record, who's the top 10. I have no idea. Haven't looked at it. I've been watching. I know who is automatically going to make it. I know who probably the top 6 are, but I don't know who the bottom few are. And then right now we're kind of a little bit past the halfway mark. So some teams may be are probably going to make it guaranteed, and I'm gonna need a piece of paper as well to go with this pen here. But some teams are guaranteed to make it, no matter if they're bottom feeders right now. Like for example, the Boston Celtics. I don't know what their record is now. I'm sure they're probably one of the top teams in the NBA. I don't know what their record is, but I do know that doesn't matter. They're making the playoffs. All right. Shout out to my assistant for grabbing me what I need to have. So dealing with the East, because I want to make sure we match them up with who the NBA says is going to be the top 10. So bottom feeders, we can. It's hard to actually pick the bottom feeders. We know for sure right away, and I'm going from bottom feeders first. Charlotte Hornets, out of here. I'm putting it on my side here. Hornets, no, you're done. So now we only got 14 teams left. We got looking around bottom feeders. We got Detroit Pistons. Uh, they're playing hard, but bottom feeders. I don't expect looking at here. I don't really expect them to make it. I got to pick 5 teams not to make it. And right now, I'm looking at Detroit, Orlando, Washington, and then Pacers and Atlanta Hawks as my bottom feeding teams. Okay, so I'm just gonna I'm just gonna pick Detroit Pistons as a no go. They won't make it. Right. I'm thinking Orlando and Washington. Toronto is one of my favorite teams. I mean, not favorites. I like them. I like that they play. Not favorite. I like that they play hard. So I think they're going to be top 8, 7, 8 seed. Um, they should be able to squeeze in. Atlanta Hawks not consistent enough for me. I think their record is decent. Um, so we got Charlotte, we got Piston, not gonna make it. Orlando Magic, you know what? Magic not gonna make it. They really have to show me something, and I know they're trying to play hard. And yeah, the Pacers, I really like what they're doing. I like what they're doing with their passing the ball and their ability to score a little bit. So it's hard to go against them as not being the top 10. Difference being from the bottom 7, 8, 9, 10 in the 1 through 6 category. So first I'm gonna pick the bottom feeders, and then I'm gonna hit you with the 1 through 6. All right. Washington is Kuzma is playing, but if I had they gotta be a bottom feeder. Is Washington, um, Hawks, and Pacers. Hawks got Trey. Hawks got Trey, so they got a sniper, and he's in a passer. So I guess they can make it in, and I'd have to go with the Wizards as a bottom feeding team. And now I'm choosing between the Atlanta Hawks and the Indiana Pacers as one of the teams who's not going to make it. It's tough. I like to see Atlanta squeeze in. Toronto though is on the verge of not making it, but I'm gonna go with Trey Young. I usually go against him in this pick. I'm gonna go rock with him and pick the Pacers just to not make it. You got 5 bottom feeders. Now, going right into our top 6 teams um, to guarantee a spot in the playoffs, we do have Boston Celtics. They making it. Now, this is in no particular order. It's not who's better or who's not. Boston Celtics will make the playoffs. Excuse me. They're in top 6. Nets, they're in top 6. Cleveland, they're in top 6. Bucks, you can't go against Giannis. He's in top 6. We're looking at the Southeast quarter over here. These teams are all bottom feeders besides, for the most part, really. I didn't put Atlanta as a bottom feeder, but they're close to the bottom. Miami Heat, they're in. Um, I can't call it top 6 yet. Let me see who else. We got 76ers. If I had to pick 76ers, they're in, right? And that'll be the top 6 in the East. We got Boston with Tatum and JB, Nets, Kyrie and KD with a triplet in Ben Simmons. We got Cleveland, big shot makers and big shot takers over there. Um, we got the Bucks, Giannis. You feel me? We got 76ers with Joel Embiid and James Harden. And we got the Heat with Jimmy Buckets and Tyler Hero in the game. So that'll be the top 6 teams to make it. And then you got 4 more teams that are going to sneak on in there, squeezing right in at number 7 would have to be, wow. You know what? Wow. Chicago Bulls is not really a top team, so to speak, and they're almost bottom feeders. But since they're the hometown and headquarters, you know what? I'm gonna rock with them. I'm gonna rock with them to get in. We're gonna go with the Knicks as a seventh seed. We're gonna go with Toronto Raptors as the eighth seed. We're gonna go with the Bulls at number 9, and we're gonna go with the Hawks at number 10. And so that concludes all our list of the players that are going to make the playoffs and the teams that are not going to make the teams that are going to make it and the teams that are not going to make it. Um, so right now, top 6: Celtics, Nets, Cleveland, Bucks, 76ers, Heat. You feel me? Um, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th is Knicks. No particular order. Knicks to Raptors, Bulls, and Bulls is shaky. And then um, the Hawks, Pistons, Magic, Wizards, Pacers. Although Pacers actually on track probably with a better record right now than the Bulls and probably the Hawks. So they actually really in realistic times might make it. But I want to got a little bias working, so I'm gonna put the Chicago Bulls in there. That's headquarters where I'm born and raised. We're gonna put them in there. So with that said, we got our top 6, and I can even go further on the top 6 and tell you my top 4. Boston Celtics, number 1, not first seed, but Boston Celtics first pick as a top 4. Nets, Cleveland, and Bucks. All right, that's my 1 through 4. Quote me on that. Hold me to that. Let's see how it goes this season. Although James Harden and Joel Embiid usually like to make a nice regular season push, but if I had to pick, Bucks, Cleveland, Nets, and Boston Celtics is my top 4 teams, and it's my top favorite 4 teams. So in the East right now. So that's how it goes. So in number 1, probably going to end up being Boston. If I had to dive even deeper, number 1 would probably actually be Boston Celtics. Number 2 would probably be Cleveland. Number 3 would probably be the Nets, and number 4 would actually probably be the Bucks. All right. So what we're going to do is compare that to what the standings really are right now. Let's find out and see how close we were and are with our picks here. So if we look at standings, current standings, and I want to do it by the East, and they gave us the East here. Okay, they gave us the East here, and what I don't want to do is look at the West while I'm looking at the East. All right, so they gave us Boston. Now we're looking at our top 6. Boston, I had Boston. The Nets, I had the Nets. Cleveland, they got Cleveland at 5. I got Cleveland as my top 4. They got, but now if we look at it, we got Boston with a 32-12 season right now. They won 32 games, lost 12. Nets won 27, lost 15. Bucks won 27, lost 16, and this is where I'm looking at here. They got Cleveland's number 5, they won 27 just like the Nets and the Bucks, but they lost one more. So they still got to catch up and got a chance to either lose or win and go ahead. Sixers with 26 and 16, and New York Knicks at number 6. That wasn't my top 6. My 6 was Boston Celtics, the Nets, which is funny because I got Boston listed just like this: Boston, Nets. I had Cleveland at my 3 and Bucks as my top 4. They got the Bucks also, but 76ers instead of Cleveland. Swap that out. They swapped it out pretty much right where I was at with it. And so and they put New York Knicks in as the top 6. The Knicks instead of the Heat. Right now, the Knicks is with 25 and 19 record, and the Heat is 24 and 20. So they're actually not too far off. Then they also snuck in for the rest of the teams, the Pacers and the Hawks. So I did pick the Hawks. I did not pick the Pacers. They got the Bulls in at 10. And I said I did want to pick headquarters, so I got headquarters in there. They got the Raptors is at 11, and they got the Pacers in. So only difference is I picked everybody except the Pacers. I didn't pick, even though their record is 23 and 21, so they balling. I got Toronto instead of the Pacers. So we'll see if Toronto is able to pull through and make a push and make a run. 19 and 24, they got to step the game all the way up. That's why I said they're one of those teams that's going to play with a chip, not a chip on the shoulder, but every game is serious. And you can see why. If they don't play for real, they'll be out and they won't make the playoffs at all. So these four teams will have to play each other in order to make it into the playoffs. These is not a guaranteed spot. Although 7 and 8 traditionally was guaranteed, if this was the record, these teams fall off. But now it's a new kind of play-in tournament. So, for example, number 7, the team with the 7th best record in the East, will face off against the team with the 8th best record in the East, and that will determine which one of those are actually the number 7th team. And then number 9 and 10 will face off. If you lose, you're out. So the number 7 and 8 team, if you lose, you're not out. It's just that if you win, you're in. Whereas 9 and 10, if you win, you still have to play again. You rhyming. So 7 and 8 will play to see who's 7 seed. 9 and 10 will play to see who's not in. And then the 8 or the one who lost from the 7 and 8 will play the one who won from 9 and 10. And they'll get the 8th spot. And like I said, for the bottom feeders, I put the Pacers as a bottom feeder, but I told y'all, I'm saying they're balling, and I like what they're doing, passing the ball and scoring. So that's a swap with Toronto, and I get it, no big deal. But if they lose a couple games, they'll be right there with Toronto Raptors. I did pick the Wizards as a bottom feeder, Orlando Magic as a bottom feeder, Detroit Pistons, Charlotte Hornets as the bottom feeders, and I completely 100% without a shadow of a doubt stand on all of everything I said. I would like to see Toronto get back in there. That means that everybody would have to play well and bump the Pacers down. It's not likely, but Chicago Bulls are going to step their game up to get higher. You feel me? So now these teams especially are going to play their hearts out because you want to be 1 through 6. I mean, he's coming. You want to be 1 through 6, or else you will be down here trying to risk it all. All right. So with that said, we are balling, shot calling, trying to get that shot to drop up against that shot clock. You got to beat the best to be the best. We try to see who be the best from the east to the west. We balling, and I'll catch y'all later. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you help the algorithm and stay up to date on all the new videos I drop. Peace.